So we're going to talk real quick on a really good budget setup that I have. And this is an entry-level build, but it's a very strong entry-level build just because of how the certain details are worked out on this gun. Uh, Definition of an entry-level build. First off, it's a rifle AR-15, obviously that is cheap in cost, but it's also set up for, along with that being cheap in cost, it's set up with the things that matter. And I'll go over that. I'm not talking about flashy things. I'm talking about the good quality builds out there because there are a few. Also, it's something that it's a category that most people are going to find themselves in these days. The reality is a lot of people don't have the money to spend on expensive AR-15s without taking out a credit card or something like that. Financially, that could be an irresponsible thing to do. So it's nice to be able to put together a budget priced option so that way you have something that you could train with. Yeah, maybe it's not a tier one gun, but realistically, think about how many rounds the average person puts downrange out of an AR-15 per year. And I'm talking the average person. I'm not talking about people that take an increased priority in training or whatnot, but the average person, it's going to be less than 1,000 rounds for sure. It might only be 200-300 rounds a year, if that. So the rifle doesn't need to be this super rifle that holds up to just tens upon thousands of round count because you're never going to hit that. So that's where I think this entry level, I think it fits this entry level definition really well. It's just something that you're going to use, and it is field capable, but it's not going to be something that you're just going to dump tens upon thousands of rounds through. Because honestly, if you had that kind of cash to afford that much ammunition, you're probably going to get a more robust AR-15 out the door because you're going to have the money to afford it. So in any case, I just want to show this build and show why I think it's extremely strong. And the products that I name in this video on this rifle, you don't have to go with. There's a lot of people that make builds, AR-15s out there, and they do a really good job. It just depends on how you want to research it and what your preferences are. So this rifle right here, this is a basic AR-15 mid-length. You notice, number one, I don't have lights and I don't have a rail on it because this is a basic rifle. This is a rifle focused on just a few strengths. It's a gun that you can take with to the field or to the range. It's well balanced and it is good for marksmanship training, for basic movement training, all that good stuff. And it checks a lot of boxes. So what exactly is this? So we know it's a mid-length build. It's a Palmetto State Armory upper, Freedom upper, and a Palmetto lower. So it's a Palmetto rifle. The lower I've had for a while. I won at a shooting competition a while ago. The upper I traded into more recently, so it's a full Palmetto gun. And some of you might be asking, wait a minute, didn't you just trash Palmetto? No, it was more the Palmetto Jackal that I don't like. I'm not a fan of the Palmetto Jackal rifle. That's just me. I think it's a horrible value for the money offered. Yeah, I know it's a cheap piston gun, but I still don't like it. I think, you'd be better off going with something else. Palmetto does have some issues with their QC. That's kind of a thing. If you research it, you know that that's there. There has been some issues with QC and there has been some issues with customer service. So there is that. But that doesn't mean everything that they do is bad. This particular Palmetto build, and I'll go over it and explain to you why this is a strong build from Palmetto. So again, don't be worried so much about the brand because you can find good mid-lengths in a lot of different areas. But mid-lengths, I think, is that great in-between between a carbine and a rifle. You get the nice mid-length gas system that's nice, easy to shoot, very reliable. You get a gun that handles very well, a little bit more rail space for better handholds, or excuse me, handguard space for better handholds. And if you do decide to throw a rail on it, you do get a little bit more rail space. So from the tip here, you have an A2 flash hider. Just stick with an A2. You don't need anything crazy. I know there's a ton of muzzle brakes out there and flash hiders, and I get it, but you don't need it. This is tried and true. This works just fine. So if you want to get other stuff, you can, but it's not a need. It is timed right. Some people laugh, but I just recently saw a couple radical AR-15s on the shelves, and their A2 flash hiders were timed too far over. So they were kind of pointing out the side. They were timed too far, and it just made me shake my head because I'm like, well, if they can't even get the timing right on an A2 flash hider, then what's wrong with the rest of the gun? So it's timed correctly. That's a good thing. Coming back mid-length on a carbine, on a 16-inch carbine, gives the front profile of a 20-inch gun. And I'll explain why that's awesome here in a little bit. Fixed front sight. The fixed front sight post is bulletproof, dang near. It's very robust. You don't have to worry about screws coming out because it's pinned in. It's not going to come loose. This thing is going to work whether you put just a few rounds through the gun or you decide to mag up magazine after magazine. You don't have to worry about the gas block on this thing failing. The only thing that you have to really worry about failing is if you put a ton of rounds through it, you do a burn down, then probably your gas tube is going to fail, hopefully before the rest of your rifle does. So coming back mid-length, this is just a basic A2 handguard, and I left this handguard on there because it works. These things are basic and they're old school, but they do work. Good heat dissipation, and you can keep your hand on this even though the gun, if you put a lot of rounds through the gun, it gets pretty hot. You can still keep your hand on there. So I've done it. I have experience with it in the military, shooting M16s, all that good stuff, even M4s with these old style handguards. They do a good job even after a few mag dumps. So standard setup, and then you can always throw rails on if you want later on. So moving back a little bit, flat top upper, you can have an A2 upper if you want. That's perfectly fine. But flat top upper, so that way it gives you a little bit of an option for a red dot. The sight that I have on here, or the sights, this is a Maytech rear folding backup iron sight. These are sourced from the military. The military has been using these for decades now, I believe. I remember using these when I was still in the service. A great backup sight, or it can be a primary sight. If you don't have the optic, just get this. This is about the same price as an A2 handle, or excuse me, an A4 full handle, carrying handle sight setup, but it's a lot more compact. You still have the ranging here, so that way you can range out. This is designed for M4s or M16 rifles, so you can range out the distance, and it's pretty low profile when you flip the sight up so it doesn't get in the way, and it has a lot of tension. It doesn't just come up loosely. It actually takes a little bit of pressure to pop that thing up. So very good sight. I've really had good luck with the Maytechs, and overall it seems like the quality is decent on them, so I really like that as a strong rear iron sight. The optic, so keeping in line with the entry-level budget theme of this, the optic, this is a Sig Sauer Romeo 7S. This is actually a green dot. This one was given to me. Now, Sig does make some strong budget level optics. Now, this one was given to me, so I don't mind talking about it. Would I spend the money right now for a Sig product? No, because I don't like Sig and the way they're handling things with the P320. I think the company is kind of crap right now. So until they change, I will probably never spend money on a Sig product unless it's a used legacy Sig piece. This was given to me, so I have no problem using it. And I have to be honest, even though I may not like Sig, the optics, the budget level optics are pretty strong. So I got to keep it as it is. You know, it's a pretty strong, it's made in China, so that is what it is. But it's a good strong optic, does have a good base on it, so it gets you that red dot. So you can use your irons for training on irons, and you can also train a little bit on red dot type stuff. Standard charging handle, so no issues with that. Pretty basic stuff. The bolt carrier group inside this upper, it does have Carpenter 158 steel on the bolt. This is a palmetto bolt. It does have grade 8 gas key screws, and it is properly staked on the gas key, very consistently and properly staked, so that's good. I like that. And just looking over all the machine work of the bolt and the bolt carrier, and all that stuff seemed to be good to go. The firing pin doesn't seem to be rough machined. Sometimes with budget level stuff, you can see some rough machine marks on the firing pin, but that's not the case with this. Everything looks good, so no issues with the bolt carrier at all. Feed ramps, all that good stuff. The star chamber, everything looks good inside the chamber. The rifling looks good. It's a 1 in twist, or 1 in 7 twist rather, rifling on this. So this will handle pretty much any of the standard weights of 5.56. Moving on to the lower, standard palmetto lower. The safety is nice and crisp. It's not sluggish at all. Sometimes with budget type AR-15s, you get a little bit of loose play in the safety lever, and you get a little bit of sluggishness, I guess is how I put it. But this is nice and crisp, so good job on them. The fire control, the trigger and stuff like that, just basic kind of a mil-spec trigger, but it's not as gritty as some of the other ones I've seen out there, so good on them for that. Castle nut. Castle nut is double staked. Awesome for Palmetto doing that. The palmetto on the 10 and 2 o'clock positions, the palmetto gas nut is, or the castle nut is staked very well. Standard buffer tube has a B5 stock. I like the B5 stocks. And it did come with a B5 pistol grip, but I changed it to a Magpul just because my preference. And then I got a Magpul sling on this. So there it is. Awesome setup. And I do like the fact that it does have a bayonet lug. And the reason I like that it has a bayonet leg is because I'm old school, and maybe some people don't understand it, but I like the idea of throwing a bayonet on a gun. So this is a mid-length gun, so it's very well balanced, but now I have a bayonet on the sucker. This is a standard M9 Ontario bayonet, General Army issue bayonet. And it's cool because it's green and it matches the green furniture I have on this. So for fashionable, matchy-matchy, it looks cool as well. But this right here is an awesome setup. So, and the bayonet is nice and tight. It's in spec and all that good stuff as far as the bayonet and the lug goes. So it's not going to sit there and flop around on me. So there it is, just a good basic setup. This checks all the boxes in regards to training, basic marksmanship, using in a field. You could do any type of rifle drill with this. This does not have a flashlight and it does not have a rail because it doesn't need it. You don't need a flashlight. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need a flashlight for a defense rifle. Yeah, if you're using it for a particular role, it helps to have a flashlight. So if it's going to be indoors only and it's going to be a home defense rifle, then any home defense gun you want to have a flashlight on, I totally get that. But if we're talking a basic field rifle, a Minuteman rifle, there you go. This you'll be able to learn all the individual and team movements with. You'll be able to learn marksmanship out to 400, 500, 600 yards with this, no problem. This will shoot out that far. So that's why I think this is a great entry-level build setup. If you're just kind of looking for a one-stop shop, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, you get something set up like this. And notice the things that I went over were the things that matter. Having a good castle nut that's staked, having a good bolt carrier group, having that strong gas block. It's the little things that really speak to the gun. Avoid going for the flashy AR-15s that don't have substance to them. Look for the guns that have substance. They're going to last a lot longer. So comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, what you would want to see in an AR build. I know there's tons of them out there, so I guess it's up to the individual person. This is just my opinion, so take that with a grain of salt. So comment, all that good stuff, leave an emoji, whatever, and I look forward to reading them.